Alleluia. you.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Michael Corley, the chairman of the board for Manatee Glens Hospital. First of all, let me thank the Palmetto High School chorus for the wonderful job you did this morning. We appreciate that entertainment. Linda O'Brien and I, the chair of this event, welcome you to continue eating while we continue with the program. When you have an opportunity, please thank our corporate sponsors and your table captains for their invitations this morning and for their support of Manatee Glens. In table captains, I know you were thrilled to death when you got that email or the phone call from your friends to ask you to find 10 buddies and bring them this morning. Please accept my sincere thank you for what you've done to expose people to Manatee Glens Children's Services. Today, our time together is made possible by two important sponsors, Gettle Automotive with Carrie Redler and Neal Communities with Senator Pat Neal. Let's give a hand of appreciation to Gettle Automotive and Neal Communities. You're in for a treat this morning because we'll experience a video presentation featuring local families served by Manatee Glens. You may actually recognize some people in the videos because Manatee Glens serves 1 out of every 30 families in our county. This video is made possible by the generous support of the Xerox Corporation. Xerox, thank you. I got involved with Manatee Glens about 4 years ago because I was asked by Mary Ruiz, the CEO, to join the board. Those of you who know Mary realize that you really can't say no to her. But I continue with it because I've got an opportunity to work with the staff of this great organization who every day does the work that most of us cannot or will not do. And as a result, they really improve the quality of life of our community. That's why I continue with this wonderful organization. And I thank all the staff of Manatee Glens for the work each and every day. Now it is my privilege to introduce our honorary chair of the Manatee Glens Champions for Children's Breakfast, Senator Pat Neal of Neal Communities. Manatee Glens and this community are deeply indebted to Senator Pat Neal, who brought to Manatee County the funding to build Manatee Glens Hospital and Addiction Center. This facility is responsible for delivering $11 million in charity care each and every year. Senator Neal will briefly elaborate on the importance of contributing back to the community for causes like Manatee Glens that benefit the youth of our town. Our honorary chair comes to us with over 40 years of experience in the housing and building industry. In addition to being a successful businessman, he is also an advocate for children, the environment, and the community in general. This former Florida Senator and House member's business prowess and proactive vision have successfully guided his company through several economic upswings and downturns. Yet even during difficult times, he never stopped his involvement with community causes. Over the past decade, he and his company have contributed over $7 million in support in our community to community organizations in Manatee and Sarasota counties. Please join me in welcoming philanthropist and community champion, Senator Pat Neal.
Thank you, Michael. Michael, my mother thanks you for that introduction. Welcome to the Manatee Glens Champions for Children Breakfast. And thank you, Michael, for allowing me to be honorary chair. Florida's children need champions. As you walked in today, you probably saw the professional portraits done for free by professionals showing children of all ages. These photographers, of course, donated their services for one goal, one reason in mind. They hope that you will see them and open your heart to them and others. These children are looking not only for a home, but for love and a forever home with a family of their own. Each one of these children is, of course, available for adoption. Perhaps you're as surprised as I am to learn that Manatee Glens is involved in adoptions, too, with everything else it does. Today, you'll learn a lot more about Manatee Glens and how Manatee Glens helps families in crisis. I personally have 40 years' experience in Manatee Glens and its predecessor, Glen Oaks. I worked with Speaker Ralph Haben in 1981, and this property was funded by a state grant, which I believe was one of the first in the state. I can say without fear of contradiction that it is the best mental health and addiction treatment center in our state. And of course, it has the most wonderful and effective executive director, Mary Ruiz. Can we say thank you, Mary? Who's ever gotten a call from Mary? Come on. Who's ever been able to say no to Mary for anything? At least that's my experience with you, Mary, and it's a wonderful experience. At the end of our breakfast, I know that you will find a way to help too. Thanks for coming today. Please spread the word about what Manatee Glens does to help families in crisis. Now, please welcome our superintendent of schools and also Manatee Glens board member and director, my friend and your friend. Perhaps there's a change. Maybe I have the wrong script and Mary's going to help me out. Mary will now take over the program and do the correct thing.
Thank you, Senator Neal. And you know, Word Perfect is great. Word is great at giving you last year's program. So, Mr. McGonigal, you'll be relieved to know you don't have to say the prayer this year again, because we have Kendall, who spoke to those of you who attended the breakfast last year. She was our testimonial, and this year, even though she has a sore throat, she is going to offer our invocation this year. So Kendall, come on up.
Good job, Mary.
Morning. Thank you all for having me today. If we could all bow our heads for a word of prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this wonderful day and bringing us all here together. I bless that this food to our body and that this benefit will help many families in our community. And I thank you for bringing Manatee Glens to my family. Please keep everyone safe as they travel back to work and home. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
You might want to look at your table and see if you have a picture of Kendall, because there are little placards with the stories of children like Kendall who faced challenges that they needed a partner in Manatee Glens. Kendall had trouble going to school, had trouble getting on the school bus, going to sleepovers, going to the mall because of an anxiety disorder. She came to Manatee Glens with her parents' help in our one-room schoolhouse, and she has overcome her anxiety to the extent that she can stand in front of all of you, more than 300 people here today, and say an invocation. And she is just one awesome kid, has two awesome brothers and two awesome parents. So thank you, Kendall. Mike, are you going to introduce Ms. Sullivan? Or shall I? Gail, shall I introduce our keynote? Okay. It's always good to do what your boss tells you to do. I'd like to introduce Gail Sullivan, who I first met because she and I share an interest of helping parents who are dealing with alcohol and drug issues with their teens. I'm also so impressed with her because she goes even further than that, and she tries to help women deal with all the challenges in their life and really see their full potential. She is an author. She is a founder of a company, and she is the most uplifting and inspiring person to be with. And so I would like to ask Gail Sullivan to come up. She is our keynote and motivational speaker today.
Good morning. I want to speak to you today about the value of a life. Did you know that there are over 4.1 million births in the United States a year? I did a little calculating. That's over 11,000 babies born every day right here in our country. When was the last time that you were up close and personal with a newborn? I mean, they're just so amazing. There's something fascinating about being in the presence of a baby. For one thing, they're so miniature. Their little hands, their little feet, I mean, their fingernails are smaller than a Tic Tac. And when you're asked to hold them, well, they seem so delicate and fragile. It's kind of scary, right? There's something about seeing life at its very onset. It's a time of firsts. A baby takes its first breath in the world and then almost simultaneously lets out this screeching cry. You have to wonder, are those tears of joy that it's finally arrived? Or is it its way of shouting back, "Put me back, put me back"? At any rate, life in the world has begun. It all starts right there. There's a realization of the wonder that life holds. Nothing's happened yet. Everything is a first. Its first breath, its first cry, its first milk. And hopefully, for the mom's sake, before long, it'll be the first long sleep through the night. You've got to wonder, who will this baby be? What will he or she do in life? What contribution will this child make to our planet? I believe everyone is born and created with a purpose. Nothing's by accident, nothing is by happenstance. The tricky part is growing up and figuring out what that purpose is. Just what is it that you've been put on this planet to do? And then making that contribution. Everything we do in life impacts others. Who knows? It could be your child that discovers the cure for cancer. Or maybe there'll be a fireman that rescues someone from a burning building. They may one day be honored in the community as the best teacher. Or they may be the one that just makes you smile when you don't feel so good. Have you ever noticed those people in your life that just have that ability to make you smile or laugh in the most difficult of situations? That could certainly be someone's purpose. With as much opportunity that exists in this world for a child to grow and fulfill his or her destiny to its fullest, we all know that life has its challenges. I want to focus this morning specifically about a challenge right here in Florida, in Bradenton, in Sarasota. In fact, it's all around us, and I'm beginning to think that, quite frankly, we have a little bit more than our share. It's drug addiction. Prescription drug addiction. I'm sure it's no secret to anyone in this room that prescription drugs are robbing our young people of their lives, of that awesome wonder that we were just talking about and basking in, of all those opportunities that exist for young people to discover who they are and what their life's purpose is. Drugs are literally snatching that away from them. I mean, those babies grow up. They become our teenagers and our young adults. They're our children. They're our neighbors' children. They're our brothers and sisters' kids. They're the children of our best friends. They're the children of our business associates. They're the children of our clients. They're the children of people that we bump into every single day. I mean, they're supposed to go off to school and further their education. They're supposed to get married and buy a home and start families of their own. They're supposed to discover what they are really good at and build a career around that. They are supposed to become Little League coaches and Sunday school teachers and influence other young lives. They're supposed to come to work for us and make a living. And one day, they're supposed to care for us when we get old, and we're just supposed to watch the grandkids. But too many of them are getting sidetracked. They're stumbling upon drugs, and they're getting addicted. I have a very good friend who is a recovered drug addict of over 25 years, who to this day is a voice and an active participant in the battle of saving lives from drugs, of helping addicts get free and find life and opportunities again. She once said this: "No one ever says, 'I want to grow up and be a drug addict.' No one ever says, 'I want to grow up and be a drug addict.'" It's never someone's intention to become hooked on drugs. They find something that makes their pain go away, and before you know it, that substance controls them, and it controls the decisions that they make. It hurts them physically, and it binds them spiritually, and they become numb and disconnected from all of that wonder and the opportunities that are in the world to help them succeed. Back in 2007, I almost lost my son to a drug overdose. I've written about that in a book that I published last year entitled The Yellow Brick Road, A Woman's Journey to the Edge and Back. There is not a day that goes by that I am not extremely grateful that my son is alive today and pursuing his purpose in life and living a life of abundance, a life that's overflowing with peace and joy and wonder and opportunity. Truly, he is discovering his purpose and contributing to our world in a positive way. But a year after that crisis, his best friend, Chris, did die. And then another, and another friend. And then there were young people that we didn't know that were also dying from drugs. And more, and more. Not far away, right here in Bradenton and right here in Sarasota. I'm going to tell you, after a while, it doesn't matter that it's not your son or daughter that didn't die. The fact is, someone's son or daughter did die. Someone's son or daughter's life is gone. Someone is grieving. Someone has lost their child. Someone has just gone through one of the greatest tragedies of life. And that someone is your best friend, or your neighbor, or your business associate. They are your client that you haven't seen for a while. They are the one that sits next to you in your church or synagogue. They are the one that works out at your gym. They are the one that you pick up your dry cleaning from every week. Do you get it? Those someones are all around you, and their kids didn't make it. So let's get right down to it. Right here in the midst of Bradenton is an organization called Manatee Glens Hospital and Addiction Center. One of the great things that they do is that they reach down into that pit of drug addiction and they grab a hold of the many hands that are reaching out to be saved. And they pull out souls that are numb to just about everything. They detox them and they do whatever they can to break that bondage of addiction, that those individuals might get another chance at finding an abundant life. Life. It's a wonderful thing. It's an invaluable gift. What would you pay to have that wonder and opportunity ahead of you? Oh yeah, that's right. You already have that. It didn't cost you a thing. It was a free gift. You go out and you live your life. Life is at its best when you have discovered your purpose and are living it. Life is at its best when you've discovered your purpose, because when you're living in your purpose, you impact the world in a positive way. You are making your contribution to this planet, and you are making a difference. Perhaps part of your purpose in life is to give financially so that those in the business of saving lives, like Manatee Glens, can fulfill their purpose. Will you open your hearts today and save a life? Will you give someone's child another chance at all life has to offer by giving generously to this great cause? Will you be a champion? Thank you.
I don't know if everybody can see, but Gail has her ruby slippers on. Gail is our newest member of the Manatee Glens board, and aren't we lucky? Yeah. We're also lucky to have a wonderful hot breakfast today, and it has been prepared by the MTI Culinary Arts program, and I would like the culinary arts students to file in front of the stage here so that we can thank you for breakfast. Gail Sullivan talks about opportunities, and today we've given these aspiring chefs an opportunity to cater to more than 300 people. So thank you all for all your hard work, getting up so early and feeding us so well. Thank you all. Okay, we can go now. After 56 years of working with children and their families, the children that Manatee Glens served in our first years are now grandparents. They're living in this community, enjoying their grandkids. And after all of this time of helping kids and their families, Manatee Glens Specialty Hospital and Outpatient Practice, we feel really confident that we know how to help. The problems that kids face and the disorders we treat at Manatee Glens are not rare. I think Gail is pointing that out in her own personal experience. It's probably true in your own as well. And the kids that we serve today number over 3,500. 3,500 kids each and every year. That is 1 out of every 14 children in the school system. And I want us to pause and think for a minute, what would our school system be like if those children didn't have a partner in dealing with their challenges and their emotional problems and their fears? Throughout the years, we've learned that kids know something we adults don't. They may not tell you, but so I'm going to tell you. The kids know that life is not fair. No fair being in your car, living in your car, sleeping in your car because mom lost her job. No fair. No fair to leave your home with a child welfare worker because your parents are using OxyContin. No fair. No fair to live with a medical condition no one understands and everyone says you will outgrow because the problem is in your brain and not in your body. No fair. No fair to be so overwhelmed with your teenage problems that you don't want to keep living and you try to end it all. No fair. No fair, as a young man named Augustin will be telling you very soon today, to be born into a family where your elders are part of a gang, and so you are part of a gang at 8 years old. No fair. It's just not fair. But the kids have taught us at Manatee Glens something else. If the adults in their lives step up to champion these children, the kids are resilient. They're strong. The kids can overcome their problems, and Kendall is here today to tell you that, right? The kids can grow up right. And today, I hope each and every one of you will consider in your own way becoming a champion for children and be the adult those kids can count on, even when life is no fair. You can make a difference today by learning about the services that you'll see on the video that we're about to present, which is Chris's cue at METV to get ready. You can make a difference by supporting the services we offer, lending your talents, lending your time, involving other people with us. So now I would like to announce the video. It is very special. We do thank Xerox for the grant that made this possible. And I also thank the families who were willing to tell their story, to encourage other people, to let people know there is hope and help, to encourage all of us. And these families are telling their stories in their own words, so I hope that you will listen carefully, because I think Gail is right. It could be your story. It could be mine. So now, with our help of our friends at METV, please enjoy the video now. Hello, I'm Mary Ruiz, President and CEO of Manatee Glens. Since 1955, Manatee Glens welcomes families who need a place to turn in a crisis for mental health and addiction services. We specialize in difficult-to-treat disorders for children and adults. There are no hopeless cases at Manatee Glens. We believe recovery and wellness are possible for everyone. We serve 12,000 patients a year. 3,500 of these are children and adolescents. If you come to Manatee Glens, you can have confidence that our team of psychiatrists, nurses, and counselors have handled hundreds of cases similar to your own. In a crisis, our doors are always open as an alternative to the emergency room. Manatee Glens Hospital and Addiction Center is recognized as both a teaching and research hospital and the only private nonprofit hospital in Manatee and Sarasota counties. Manatee Glens Children's Crisis Center is a safe haven for children and youth who face difficult emotional problems. We also accept teens struggling with the challenge of alcohol and drugs.
The disorders that Manatee Glens treat are not rare. Each year, Manatee Glens serves 1 out of every 30 families in our community. Kendall and her parents turned to Manatee Glens Children's Day program for help.
Before we went to Manatee Glens, a typical day, morning, it was mostly school time that she would have the anxiety, and I would get her into the car and we couldn't get her out of the car in the morning. When we first came to Manatee Glens, they were the most generous and kind-hearted people. They came, they told me I could bring her to the back door. They came to the car. They physically helped me get her out of the car. They talked her all the way through it. They helped me. They comforted me. They comforted her. Some of them would, they had somebody else that could come and help my 3-year-old. It was a night and day situation. I wasn't by myself anymore. I wasn't lonely. I had help.
I was really glad that they helped me with that. And when they talked to me, I was just thinking, you're right, I can do it, everything's okay.
Thank you for giving my daughter her life back. I really believe that they helped us to bring our family closer back together. The family counseling helped tremendously because it wasn't just Kendall. It was the whole family being affected, and I really liked how they brought the whole family in and helped us all to help her.
Like Kendall and her family, we were also here for Mike. Mike's journey to recovery started at Manatee Glens Addiction Center.
I came to Manatee Glens because I was a chronic alcoholic and a drug user. And I just took a look at my life one day and saw that I wasn't living the way I was supposed to be living. What finally clicked for me this time was that I had something worth living for, and that was for myself and for my daughter.
I was a little bit less than 7, and I always wanted a father figure, and he was never there. And just anytime I wanted to be with him, he couldn't be there because of alcoholism or drugs, and yeah, it was just hard.
One of the best things that Manatee Glens taught me was who I was, who I am as an alcoholic, and helped me identify the things about me that I needed to change in order to be a better person and to where I don't have to drink again. Manatee Glens has always been there for me for the last 7.5 years. Life with me and her got a lot better, and she built the trust back with me. 1.5 years later, after my sobriety, I actually got full custody of my daughter.
Manatee Glens services extend beyond its detox and hospital services to our outpatient practices, offering psychiatric and counseling services for children and for adults like Keith.
In 2000, I came to Manatee Glens and got the help that I needed. I was dealing with my mental illness, my bipolar, and I didn't have a goal or any which direction to go in. The doctors at Manatee Glens helped me to realize that I needed to take care of myself, and through the medications and things like that they provided. And then, of course, the counselors too. They were very helpful and directed me as far as finding out whether I should go back to work or not, if I can handle those things. I really appreciate Manatee Glens and the fact that they've helped me out through all these years, and they still continue to provide the help that I need. They're really just a phone call away or a visit, an appointment. It's just recently I met my fiance. I'm looking to be married, so that's an exciting time for me now. And that's all due to getting my life in balance. You know, and there's many other good things as well, but that's the biggest one right now. So.
Manatee Glens also answers our community's call for protecting our community's children. At Manatee Glens, we provide child abuse and neglect services to over 300 children and their families a year. Through our in-home and diversion programs, we are able to reunite 2 out of 3 families. For those children who can never go home again, we provide adoption services for families like the Linehausers.
We first began fostering Juliet as foster parents at 4 months old. And we took her in, and she was sort of a distant child, just very quiet, didn't really cry. Apparently she had had some neglect prior to coming to us. At around 3 years old, Manatee Glens and the whole process kind of came up and advised us that we had the opportunity to adopt her because they had terminated parental rights.
Manatee Glens provided the case management or the adoption specialist, and she was available at any time. She did monthly visits with us once our daughter was in the system to be adopted, and also provided various resources for us. And then just was with us and guided us throughout the process, both the legal system and through the full adoption process. Seeing Juliet when she first came into foster care, and I know she was just a baby, but she's just truly blossomed into a very loving child. She's the one that wants to give everyone hugs. That's the first thing she wants to do when she sees you, is just hug you. Just truly a very affectionate little girl.
Today, Manatee Glens is the leading private hospital and outpatient practice in our community, employing over 450 staff. Our mission of helping families in crisis has never been an easy road. Throughout the years, our community has supported Manatee Glens and our shared belief that every family deserves a place to turn in a crisis. These families are grateful, as you would be, not to be alone in seeking answers for a loved one.
Thank you, Manatee Glens.
Thank you, Manatee Glens,
Thank you, Manatee Glens, for giving me a place to turn.
for giving us a place to turn.
For giving me a place to turn.
Thank you, Manatee Glens.
How about that? I want to thank Kendall and her family and all the families that agreed to appear in this video so that we can spread the word that hope is available, that help is available, and that families can heal. This is the highlight of our program coming up right now. I'm going to ask Augustin and Tracy Johnson, his counselor, to come up to the stage so I can introduce them. What a gentleman. He's letting the lady go first. We ladies love that. Augustin is going to tell his own story, so I'm going to introduce Tracy. Tracy has only been with us a little less than a year.
Just a little over a year.
Little over a year. Time flies when you're having fun. She's a mental health counselor, and she has been working with Augustin. And I don't know if you want to say a few words of introduction? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to be here today to introduce you to our guest speaker. When Augustine came to Manatee Glens, he was already motivated and ready for change to make those changes in his life. What we provided for him at Manatee Glens through individual counseling, group counseling, and case management was support and encouragement and the tools he needed for success. It is my great pleasure to introduce you today to a young man who has worked diligently to make changes in his life and to turn his life around, Augustine Ramirez.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Augustine Ramirez, and I am here today to tell you a little bit of myself. My dad left me at the age of 5. It was harder for my mother to play the role of a mother and a father. Up to this day, I can still remember the day my dad left me in the blue Camaro, and feeling like a part of me was lost forever. I didn't have a male to look up to, so I chose my cousins. My cousins were in gangs, so I followed at age 8. In the gang, I found the feeling of a family, but I was also involved in fights, shootings, robberies, and stabbings. I got into drugs at age 9. I was in the wrong path for a while, 8 years. I met Mr. Gabriel Ortiz, my teacher, as a 6th grader. And as an 8th grader, I realized what I was into. My life was related to Gabriel's in so many different ways. I wanted to choose a different path. I got charged with burglary, then was sent to Manatee Glens because I admitted that I was using drugs. After 3 to 4 months, I was charged with possession of marijuana, then sent back to Manatee Glens. After that last incident, I said no more. Up to this day, for a year and a half, I've been away from gangs and drugs. Manatee Glens helped me as I were to be family. I felt hope, something I didn't imagine feeling. Now I'm in the right path, school, and in the process of getting my high school diploma. My therapists, my groups, and my case management changed my life. I no longer need gangs nor violence. I'm a new man, and my future will be successful. Manatee Glens made the difference in my life. Then my family and my cousins and a few friends came to Manatee Glens. Now their life is better. In Manatee Glens, I learned how to learn how to do new things the better way. Manatee Glens to me is home. I have a girlfriend that's been there for me throughout my changes, Anna Melendez. Through me getting help at Manatee Glens, my family saw me change. Manatee Glens gave me inspiration, hope, family. I'm still standing, and I believe in myself. That's it.
Thank you, Augustine. I whispered in his ear just now, you remember this, all these people are rooting for you. Thank you very much. Oh, yes.
These flowers are for somebody special that's been there for me since the beginning I started changing, my girlfriend, Anna Melendez.
Isn't he a wonderful romantic? I love that. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Linda O'Brien. She is the chair of this event, so we owe her some thanks and gratitude. She's also an esteemed member of the board of directors. She's a past secretary. She has chaired many of a Beach Bash event, so she's had practice at organizing an event like this. And she works for C&D Vegetables as chief financial officer, but I think her true love is here today, and that's Stephen O'Brien, her husband. So we're gonna, did he leave? There he is! He's ready to take a picture of her. Linda won my heart the year she loaded up her truck and came with so many gifts for a foster family that we had to help her unload them. And so she has a true heart for what we do, and I am very happy to introduce Linda O'Brien.
Good morning. I'm Linda O'Brien, your event chair. I am fortunate to have been involved with Manatee Glens as a member of the board. You have just experienced firsthand why I'm involved with this organization. I want to thank Augustine for sharing his story with us. Incredibly, Manatee Glens serves 1 out of every 30 families in this community. Each has their own story. Each is grateful in their own way. I'm sure you all know that this is a fundraising breakfast. We made no secrets about it. You probably came today because a friend or colleague invited you, or because you're already somewhat familiar with Manatee Glens. When you decided to come, most of you did not know exactly what we were going to ask for you in terms of your financial support. I'm going to end the suspense for you. We are going to ask you for 120 children. Why 120 children? Our goal is $60,000 today, so we can help 120 children struggling with abuse, alcohol, drugs, and emotional problems. I'd like to ask our table captains to take up your packets now and pass out our pledge sheets to those at your table. I'd like to ask all our guests, when you receive your envelope from your table captain, to open the pledge sheet so that I can walk you through them right now. In the next few moments, I will have a personal question to ask each of you. How many of the 120 local children can you give a place to turn in a crisis? I invite you to join me in the first giving level in the Champion Society. It is the President's level of $1,000 a year for 5 years. If you would consider a gift at this level, which is an average of just $83 a month, your gift gives 10 children a place to turn in crisis for mental health and addiction services over the next 5 years. The second giving level in the Champion Society is the Chairman's level of $5,000 a year for 5 years. A gift at this level allows us to do much more, gives 50 children a place to turn in crisis for mental health and addiction services. We know many of you are part of a company, a family fund, or foundation, or you may just be in a position to give more. The next level lets you have a far-ranging impact on the lives of youth in our community. If you would consider a gift at the founder's level of $10,000 a year for 5 years, you could reach 100 children who need a place to turn in a crisis for mental health and addiction services. This is about 1/3 of the children in an entire elementary school. I want you to know that we appreciate gifts at any level. The next line in the pledge form is for you to consider if you would like to contribute in other ways. If, for example, you wish to set your own contribution, consider this. If everyone at your table contributes $100 for 5 years, you collectively help 10 children. This is a wonderful feeling for about $8 a month. And yes, Manatee Glens will be happy to accept monthly payments in behalf of the children. Perhaps you would like to consider a gift of stock or something else. Or you simply have some great ideas for us about how your church or company might get more involved with us. If so, check the box. Please contact me. I have other thoughts to share. We have people in this room today who have included Manatee Glens in their estate plans. I encourage others of you to consider a legacy gift that will not only help children today, but also the next generation. Let us know on the pledge form if you would like us to contact you about such a gift. We truly appreciate whatever level of support you provide, and we ask you make the first payment of your pledge today. You can do so by cash, check, or credit card. The reason this event is not a swanky gala is that we want 100% of these funds you contribute to go straight to helping our children and families in crisis. I'll give you a little more time now to finish filling out your forms. I know many of you are still writing, but if I could have your attention here for just a moment, it's important that you really hear what I'm about to say. Anyone that knows me knows I have served on many boards in Manatee County over the years. I must say, I love Manatee Glens. They do such a wonderful job in the community in areas of troubled lives. But today is about Manatee Glens children. There are so many sad stories to be told, but there are so many happy beginnings too. I used beginnings and not endings because I believe it is a happy beginning for them. We need your help so we may help others to have happy beginnings. I took an afternoon one day and shadowed one of our nurses at the hospital. I saw a very, very young girl that was pacing the hall, did not speak and did not look up. I did not ask what was wrong with her, but it broke my heart to see such a young lady with something this tragic. But I knew she was in the right hands to get treatment and care that she needed. I often think of her and wonder how she is today. I could talk for hours about Manatee Glens and the good they are doing in our community, but I know you want to get back to work. Please help us help our children at Manatee Glens. Whatever gift you have chosen to make today, we sincerely thank each and every one of you on behalf of our children we serve. And thank you all for the most important gift you gave today, that of your time. We really appreciate that you made the time in your busy morning to learn more about Manatee Glens and our great work with families in crisis. When you're finished filling out your pledge forms, please pass your envelopes back to your table captain. We ask that the table captains collect the forms and turn them in to Kalina Goodyear and the staff in the foyer. Please take your time, and thank you all for coming today.
Linda, of course, has the biggest and most important job. The 30 tables here, of course, include Manatee's most community-minded citizens and best contributors. I know you'll prove that in the next 5 minutes. I hope your involvement with Manatee Glens has just begun. Mary, we're on time. Perfect. 8:56, unless I speak 4 more minutes. Thanks again. Thanks all of you. Thanks all of the table captains. Thank you, Augustine, for sharing an important message about what Manatee Glens is all about. Thank you, Mary. Thanks each and every one of you for devoting your morning, this morning, to start Manatee Glens in its new campaign. Goodbye. God bless you. Thanks for coming.